Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 230, Introduction to Solidworks, in our weekly Zoom classroom meeting. This week we'll be introducing Module 10, which is an assembly with advanced mates. We'll be going through Lab 10A and Lab 10B from Chapter 11 of the textbook. And essentially what we'll be doing is we'll be downloading these part files and this assembly file, and then creating a rack and pinion mate. And so if I take a look at that here in Solidworks, we'll take these two files and then we'll mate these parts so that we can get this motion with the gears. That's Lab 10A. And then Lab 10B is a similar project where we'll do a mate with this kind of, it's like an assembly that kind of appears to be sort of like a shelf as we go through. And it's the same technique where we'll go through and we'll create these different mates from these different parts, and we'll create this assembly as we have laid out here in our main splash page. There's a couple of videos on YouTube. So here's Lab 10A. And so if I walk through it a little bit, I show how to open the assembly and then insert the components and then to mate the parts. There is an aspect where you can do the animation. I believe the textbook author added that new this year. You don't have to create an animation, but you're welcome to do that. And if you do, we'll give you bonus points. And here's the other assembly right here. This is a relatively short assignment. It's not super difficult, being a holiday week and everything. If you do need some extra time, if you're traveling, just ask for an extension, and it would be no problem to go ahead and grant you the extension if you're traveling. As we look at the way the course is going right now, Module 9 is due on the 23rd, and again, that's a pretty robust assignment there with the assembly drawings for the gate, which is bonus, and then for Lab 9A and Lab 9B, which is bottom-up type assembly work. Remember, you may need the T-joint. Okay, it's from the author textbook, and so I included that here for you to be able to put the assemblies together. And then as we look at how things are starting to work out for us, we will have a class next week on the 28th, and what we'll do is we'll start to prepare for the final exam, and we'll do that in the same manner that we did the midterm, where we'll have a practice midterm exam that will be available in quizzes and exams, which will go through the chapters and the questions from the textbook, and then we'll have a basic parts drawing and an assembly drawing that we can practice on so we can be prepared for the final exam. And the final exam will be given the week of the 5th of December. And so you'll have a week to do that final exam and turn that in. We will use Honor Lock for the multiple choice portion of the exam, and then we will use, just like we've been doing with SolidWorks, my final exam, which is very similar to the exam from chapter 21. I think they changed it in the textbook when they updated it, but it's essentially preparing for the CSWA. Now, you don't have to take the CSWA exam, but if you would like to take that, I will give you a voucher for that. And so I'll talk about that next week, but essentially the CSWA just goes through these different competencies like creating drawings and creating part files. And it's a 3-hour exam. That's how much time they give you for it. And you model these parts. And then just like we did in the midterm, you'll go through and calculate the mass properties of those parts. And then a little different than we did on the midterm, there's 2 assemblies that are given for the CSWA. And so this is one of the assemblies. And they're both bottom-up assemblies, which basically means that the parts are already drawn. And so you take the part models and then you assemble them. It's almost like virtual Lego, where you'll put these parts together and then work with the mates for the different motions that are required for those. So that's after the holiday. Hopefully you will have a nice long holiday and enjoy some needed rest. And then after the holidays, we'll start getting ready for the final exam. And then we'll take the final exam starting on the 5th. This is just the way that the calendar kind of shows it, but it'll be available for you to take starting December 5th. And then the last day to turn in all projects, quizzes, and everything will be December 14th. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, enjoy the holiday, and I'll see you online next week. Alrighty, I'm going to end the recording and post the video.